Here's one thing that we've all heard. It's very common in English. I'm spiritual, but not religious.
So let's try to give some reasonable definitions for all those terms.
Yeah.
As far as spiritual but not religious, which kind of sounds like the New Age anyway. If we use as basic definitions that when the way people use it, we're not talking about necessarily, the best dictionary definition of these words, but how do people out there use these words? I think they mean something like spiritual is a state of consciousness, sort of an internal state, and maybe even how you treat people. Like, in other words, your behavior manifests the way you feel about other people. Like, do you love them? Do you ignore them? Or just how do you think about other souls? And religious perhaps means like external behavior, observable behavior. You like in ISKCON, that would mean you get up at a certain time, you go to a temple room and you engage in a Mongol arti, or you comply with, you perform a certain spiritual or religious practice, ceremonies, rituals, and so on. And as we know, some people are very compliant with religious rules and rituals. They're just not nice people. And so obviously this distinction between religious and spiritual is not sort of an ISKCON jargon, just karmis being karmis. There's actually there's actually some truth behind it. I mean, there is, as I say sometimes, religious institutions or just religious people are probably have the greatest opportunity to be hypocrites. Because religious institutions or individuals make by far the grandest claims, like, we are connecting with God, we can connect you to God, we can offer you eternal life, you will become, born again, you'll become a new person, you'll be reborn as a spiritual person and all that. And then, so when people making those, at times, grandiose claims, they're making those claims, and then they're just like, they act like, I can't say the words here on the air, but you know those words. I mean, everyone has their favorite word. That word. So, in other words, they sometimes seem to be more arrogant or colder, just less caring than ordinary people who may not even believe in God. And so there's a problem. If you study the history of religions, you can find in practically every religion that was around long enough, historically great religions, find a lot of piety, a lot of real devotion, and then a lot of hypocrisy. I don't mean the same people are doing both those things, but so there is that skepticism nowadays. And then you said, just quickly, New Age and Vedic, throw that out, try to give some definitions. And New Age is kind of a catch-all term. It's, let's see if I get some. Okay, and I quote from the Wikipedia Bible, the Wiki Bible. New Age is a term applied to a range of spiritual religious beliefs and practices that grew rapidly in the Western world during the 1970s. Precise scholarly definitions of the New Age differ in their emphasis, blah, blah, blah. So the rest is blah, blah, blah. But so if I can venture here a sort of a rough definition of New Age movements or New Age phenomena, they definitely strongly reconnect with pagan magic, pagan mysticism. It's kind of going back to the roots of Western civilization, which are pre-Christian, pre-Judeo-Christian. And so that fascination with, I mean, look at Harry Potter. I mean, that's about as pagan as it gets. So so Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and all these things, they are distinctly non-Judeo-Christian. And so I think the New Age thing is, of course, it involves yoga. It pulls things not only from the pagan tradition, but going to India. Obviously, yoga is a big part of it. So it's kind of mysticism and mystic and magical traditions that are non-Judeo-Christian and come chiefly from the East, either from, and even in Europe, I mean, a lot of the magic and mystical traditions of pagan Europe, Greco-Roman Europe, came from farther east, from Persia, and some of them probably built in from India, or a lot of them did. So, and of course, they're popularized because nowadays, kind of this postmodern subjectivism, which also characterizes the New Age phenomena, which is that everyone has their own truth, and as long as you don't think seriously about life, that won't be a problem for you. Because if you seriously that everyone has their own truth, that basically means there is no truth, and there are only psychological states. There's no actual objective truth, which means that no one really has a truth in the old-fashioned sense of the word. So